Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Teevee the Marketer, and you tuned in to the Teevee Marketing Show, where we focus on sharing content and information that benefits local businesses so they can grow and prosper. So today, who's in? Nobody's in yet. I want to take a quick minute to apologize for last week. I didn't share much of anything, and I have to share something in that. It was because I was becoming a citizen. I was nervous as hell trying to prepare for it and take care of last minute details, and was just stressing. But it's done. I passed. Yay! I'm going to become a citizen, and I'm excited for it. Get to be more involved, and we'll get to vote and do a lot of other things that that the citizenship allows me to do. So for that, I'm excited, and I'm excited to contribute to the country in a much larger capacity. But where I'm back, I'm excited to be here today. The previous one, just to be fair, the previous episode, the previous week, I did a Facebook Live for my marketing show on Tuesday. I did one on Wednesday. I did one on Thursday. So I was hot. And then the next week came up and I was not. But I'm back and I'm excited to be able to get back on a roll. And to start that off will be today's show. Today's show, we're focusing on talking about free versus paid methods. Whatever channel you may choose, each one has their free and each one has their paid ways to go about it. Organic versus paid, SEO versus PPC. And if you don't know what that is, I'll be sharing exactly what SEO stands for in PPC. And moving along, let's talk about that. Let's go back to the top of my little outline. Hey, Tenacious. I can always count on you being in the house. So, first off, let me start off with, if you know me and been following me for any amount of time, you know that I highly recommend paid strategies, paid ads. It doesn't matter what channel, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or Google search, Bing, if that's what you're into, Yahoo. Each of them has their paid strategies and methods. And the reason that I now focus on that is because I actually used to do everything. I used to do everything free, meaning try to do everything for free for my clients, the SEO versus PPC, for example. So getting ranked in Google, there's the free way, search engine optimization, trying to persuade Google that my clients are more relevant. There's the free way, and then there's the paid way, the pay-per-click way, which are those ads at the top of the search. But what I found over the years is, because of the drastic changes that happen all the time, it becomes so difficult, especially in Google, to rank really high for any terms that matter. That, for example, divorce attorney or roofers. Let me see here. So if you look at the screen, cheap divorce lawyers, the rankings at the very top, these are the search results, and you don't pay for them per se, but the Google My Listing is what shows, and you have one ad. So it's becoming even more difficult. And you have to scroll past halfway down the page before you actually start to see the free results, the quote-unquote free results. So what I decided, and this was happening years ago, this was a screenshot from a couple of days ago, from yesterday. What I started to realize years ago is that this was the trend. Google makes changes to the algorithm that then would take my client from being the top of the page to being on page 2, page 3, or maybe not even ranked, because they decided that something that I was doing, or that a lot of people like myself were doing, were spammy, and they de-indexed. And that's the last thing I wanted to experience. And it was free in that they weren't paying Google, but they were paying me. Because for these types of results and these types of industries, these niches, it costs a lot of money to produce results, because you have to try to persuade Google that my client is more relevant than 100 other clients, other people that have been working to stay on top. And then Google changes something and it shuffles everything. As a matter of fact, I saw an article, and I saw this yesterday, but I saw an article that said that there must be some changes coming through, because a lot of the rankings are starting to just be shuffled. So you know that a lot of people are getting fired in the next week or so. Because if you're in number one, you're paying to be number one, and you were, and then all of a sudden you're not, you're number 5, number 10, number 12, those companies are probably going to get fired, but it's not necessarily their fault. It's just the nature of that business. So that's the reason that I focus on paying, because I need to be able to produce results for my clients. I need to prove myself that what I do matters, and I want to be able to do it quickly. It's difficult to ask for a company to give me $5,000 to rank them for number one for divorce attorney in Dallas, and I had to tell them it was going to take 5 to 6 months before we might crack the top page. That's just not something that and then on top of that, if I do rank them in 6 months, Google may come through and make some changes to the algorithm that then they get knocked down. So to me, that just isn't something that I care to play in anymore. I decided to move towards the pay route. It's faster, it's easier, and also it allows me to test quicker. So for example, if I create a piece of content and I promote it and it has a specific message or a specific offer for my client, maybe a free class, a free consultation, it allows me to test quickly, like within a day or two, I will know whether the message and the targeting are on point or not based on the results. If you do that in other traditional formats or even Google search or free, you have to wait to get enough eyeballs on it for free to be able to make a decision on whether it was legitimately a good offer and a good message. Paid allows me to jump through all that and get the data back and find out maybe it's a crappy message and I screwed it up, but I'll know quickly. Paid allows me to do that. Free will take a while to have enough eyeballs, enough exposure to be able to make that decision, right? So for me, that's just the way I do it and the reason I go about it. But that's not to say free organic is not possible. It's just going to take a lot more time. So let's talk about that. We were just mentioning here, we're looking at cheap divorce lawyers. You see the Google My Listing. So if you don't know what Google My Listing is, it's basically the map, being able to show in the map. If you don't have that already in your local business, that's the number one thing you need to do to even have a chance to rank for Google for your term. So go get that. If you don't have it, if you have one already, optimize it. Add pictures, add videos, add content. Google My Business actually now allows you to add events and add pictures, and they're adding more of a news feed so you can share content, because if they find their page, they want to be able to share your material, your content, and hopefully convince that person to call you. But Google search Google My Business. If you don't have one, create an account and create a profile for your company, a listing. And that's the best tip I can give you right now. Go make it happen. Okay, because if you're searching for local stuff, the top results are all Google My Listings, all these map listings. Let me show you another one. There's another divorce, this is a roofer. Best roofer in Oklahoma. You see the roof, and so I was talking about earlier. And then even after you scroll past it, and this is something that I just seen recently, it's relatively new behavior. And I think it's part of the changes that they're making. This box, people also ask, and these prompts, I see that on almost every search that I do for local searches, and even some national searches that are not local businesses. So by the time you get to halfway down the page is when you see the organic results. And these, I guarantee you're paying $5,000 to $10,000 a month to try to stay here. Now, if there's enough searches and there's enough money in that product that you're selling, that service, then it is very much something you should do. But if you cut hair, then you're trying to outbid everyone, then it's going to be very hard because your profit margin is really low. So trying to pay someone or even do this yourself is really, really tedious. Moving on. I'm back. All right. So get a Google My Business. That's the big takeaway from that little segment. And start optimizing it, because that's going to give you the highest likelihood that you're going to rank. That's not to say that you can't rank. In fact, if you've done a good job of branding yourself on social media, or you're out there meeting people and you're handing your business cards out and you're doing great work, and people start searching for your brand, then that's something you can absolutely rank for. For example, if you Google Teevee the Marketer, I own almost all the results because I want to be remembered by something as simple as that, by my brand, and I want it to make it easier for people to find me. So you absolutely need to rank for that within Google. So do that. That's possible. Same thing with Dallas Marketing Rockstars, the old brand I used to have for like 7 or 8 years before I shuttered it into Teevee the Marketer. You're going to find my results. Do that for your company. Make sure that you're branding yourself and you're putting yourself out there. And that way, then yes, you can rank for things like that. But when it comes to terms that are much more competitive and higher value, all the chiropractor in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, roofers, all those are going to be expensive and difficult. However, you can rank for that. I will also say that you can rank for something called the long tail keyword. That's a crazy word to say. It's a crazy phrase. With the long tail keyword, what that amounts to is search terms that are really long. So anything that is 1 or 2 words, those are really broad. Weight loss, it's way too broad. You're never going to rank for weight loss. Lawyer Dallas, it's still 2 words. It's going to be hard to rank for that. Or divorce attorney Dallas, hard to rank for that. But possibly, or even yoga Dallas, right? That's going to be competitive. There's a lot of yoga companies in Dallas, some big corporate ones and some smaller ones. So ranking for that is possible, but it's going to be difficult and it's going to take time. However, what you can rank for is something like yoga classes for women over 50 that are pregnant in East Dallas. That's a long search term. Now, that search term is what we call the long tail. There's not going to be that many people looking for it, but there will be some. So if you know that you can help those individuals, and that's even a possibility, writing an article, creating a video with that as the title, that's one of the easiest ways to rank for free, organically in Google. Have a client, or had a client, he's a friend and my personal trainer. I worked on his website years ago, did the on-site search engine optimization, and did a little content here or there. And he pretty much now, still years later, can, because of the work I did for him, he will bring in clients that are searching for personal trainers in East Dallas. Now, it's not that long, but that's actually another strategy. If you can focus on small areas within your community. In Dallas, for example, you have East Dallas, you have Lake Highlands, Lakewood, Oak Cliff, Bishop Arts. So personal trainer in Bishop Arts. It's not that many people that are going to look for it, but there are people, and perhaps that can be, you can show there a lot faster than Dallas, right? Because that market is just so competitive. So if you can do that, or if you can think of situations where you can serve individual little micro communities, definitely try to do that. That's very, very possible. Okay. What else? That's about it on that. But anything that is 1 or 2 words is almost impossible to rank for. The more words, the longer tail keyword, the better. But also keep in mind that there's not going to be as many searches for that. But you can dominate for the ones that are there. And that's the cool thing. I talked to him, Jim, my personal trainer, recently. He said he's still getting leads from that. And the work I did on that was years ago, because there's just not that many people in that little area that are focused on that and have the search engine optimization, the SEO, on the site and with their content to be able to rank for that. And, that makes me feel good. I did that. I helped him with that. So I'm glad he's still thriving. And of course, he does a fantastic job. So he has reviews and whatnot that help him grow even more and maintain that years and years since I did it. All right. So now let's talk about social media. Social media is by far the easiest way to go the free route, but it's also the most complicated, and also difficult in its own way. And the reason for that is because there's just so much content that's being produced. There's a ton of it that's being put out there, and we as consumers of this content, you can only take in so much. We all, probably on average by now, have at least 300 to 500 friends, and we also follow at least another 100 to 1,000 pages, rock bands, musicians. I follow artists, I follow musicians, I follow marketers. So it's all their content. So, and I bring this up because there's just this fire hydrant. There's like so much fire hose. There's all this content that's being pushed out. And there's just no way for Facebook to show all their content in a way to a person. They can't possibly show me all that content from the people I follow in a way that's easy to consume. So that's where the algorithm takes place. They're going to show the content that I'm the most engaged in organically. So if I follow a dance couple, for example, I'm a dancer. So if I follow a dance couple, hey, Carlos, good to see you, brother. If you follow a dance couple and I'm constantly engaging with their content, well, Facebook is then, their algorithm is going to pick up that I'm into it, I'm engaged in it. They're organically going to serve it up to me. So just kind of keep that in mind, because I know that there's this popular belief that Facebook just wants you to advertise, which they do. There's no getting around it. It is a publicly traded company, and it's in their best interest to make a profit. And they built this huge enterprise with 2.5 billion users that we can all tap into. And of course, they're going to want to monetize it. But on top of that, there's just no way for a person to consume that content without you not being seen. So on average, this is Facebook I'm focusing on right now. On average, I think it's 2 to 3% of your people. If 100 people follow you, 2 to 3% of them will see it organically. And that's low. That's terrible, right? I hate that. However, a good part of the reason for that is because the content that's being put out is not engaging enough. It's not fun enough. It's not educational enough. It just doesn't make that person feel like it's valuable enough. They like the page, but the content itself is not engaging. And the best way to get around that is to produce high quality content, to produce content that people will want to share. Like, always ask yourself, this thing that I'm putting out, is it shareable? Is it something that will make people feel good, happy, and is it something that they will be happy to share with their community? If the answer is not a clear no, then chances of people organically seeing that are really low. So if they're not going to engage with it, if you put it in front of them, then the algorithm won't serve it up to them for free, right? So maybe you need to kickstart the system, create a great piece of content, and give it money, so that way they see it, they're engaging with it, and now the likelihood of them seeing it the next time another piece of content for free is higher. And that's the best way around it. I have a page, a dance web page, Kids Passion, where that's kind of what I've done. I did that for 6 to 8 months, and now I can put out a piece of content that's going to get seen by a couple hundred people for free, and have a fair amount of engagement. And if it's really good, I'm going to have a ton of shares. That was only possible because I kind of got around that problem of not enough people seeing it in the first place by putting ads behind it. But if you are creating a good piece of content and you're putting it in front of people, if you have a large enough community, then it's very possible to grow. But it's going to be difficult. But always ask yourself, especially when you see content come through your news feed, and if it's find out or ask yourself, I like this, I want to share it. Ask yourself why. Is it because it's fun? Is it because it's informational? Is it because you feel smarter and you want other people to know? It could be something that more people need to know about, right? Is it educational? Any of these ideas. What is it about those pieces of content that you can then reverse engineer for yourself? It has to be rich, because we're interrupting them. Unlike on Google and Google search, or any search, when you the reason that those leads and those prospects are much more profitable and better is because they go into Google and they're searching actively divorce attorney in Dallas. That person is probably going to get divorced, right? They've already done the research and they know they're getting divorced. They've probably been through the mental process and anguish. They're getting divorced and they're looking for a divorce attorney. So they are actively looking for that. On social media and Facebook, we're interrupting them. It's like television, it's commercials. We're interrupting them and saying, hey, here's my stuff. Ideally, they like your page and they're engaged with it and they don't mind seeing it, but we're interrupting them, so it has to be informational, educational, entertaining. Okay? Always keep that in mind. If you do that, then you can definitely succeed. But then here comes the kicker. You just definitely, absolutely need to make sure that you're not being spammy. You're not tagging people that aren't interested in your message. In fact, I personally discourage it, because I want people to, it distorts my numbers. If people are tagged and they may engage with it, but it's not genuine. It's because I tagged them. Now, if it's a person that I personally know that loves this information, then I will tag them. If they're in the picture, for example, if I have a picture and they're in the picture, I will tag those individuals because they're in the picture. For example, I take pictures at my dance event, so I want to tag them. Outside of that, I avoid it because I want to know for real, whether the content that I'm putting together is engaging enough to make people stop, engage with it, share it, comment, like, all that good stuff. I need real information, real data. Otherwise, it's all distorted. The numbers are skewed, and it's bad. And on top of that, if you tag too many people too often, you may end up in Facebook jail if you're doing this on a Facebook profile. Because on the business page, that's not allowed. But if you're doing it on a Facebook profile, you may end up in Facebook jail. That may keep you from tagging people, and it's not a good thing to do long term. You have to create content people want to engage with organically. Okay. Absolutely. Let me know. We'll talk. Visit my website. I actually, Carlos, I have a booking page that you can schedule a time. Moving along. Now, a great strategy that I recommend for people, especially if you have more time than money, then I recommend joining Facebook groups related to your industry. So if you're, and I can't even think of anything right now, but join mom groups if you are a yoga instructor. There's so many types of groups. Just find those groups that are related to your industry and jump into the conversation. Jump in there. Find groups that are active. If you find groups where you go in there and there's no engagement, then you're going to be talking to an empty room. So I would implore you not to even bother going in there or sharing content, even if you just post your content or your whatever it is. Nobody's going to see it, or not enough people to, for me, make it viable. For me, this strategy is a difficult one because I'm so busy. But if you have more time than you have money and you know you want to grow your business, go in there and give. Find these conversations and share. And don't be spammy. You notice a pattern here? Don't be spammy. Share, contribute to the conversation, give your advice, give your information, and then walk away. Let people reach out to you. You don't want to be that person at the party that's just shoving your business cards in people's faces and telling them what you do, and they don't care, right? Jump into the conversation, show your expertise, and that makes a world of difference, and let them reach out to you, right? Because what's going to happen, especially in the most engaging groups that are live and thriving, the admins will ban you if you start to get spammy or selling too much. But you're obviously allowed to share your expertise. Go into those groups, do that. Do not just post your stuff. Don't post your promotional stuff. Once again, in these groups, the admins are going to be really aggressive about banning you, deleting your content if you're just sharing without giving, and those groups are not the place for it. However, it is a place to build your name and build your expertise. Give. I can't stress this enough. This is the best way to go about it. Yeah, avoid selling and being spammy. You will get removed and you won't be allowed back in. And you're going to get a reputation for being spammy. But go in there and give value, and you will. It's going to take time. It's going to take a ton of time to build a reputation and a business that way. But it is possible. I know numerous people that have built huge businesses by doing this very thing. Of course, it took months and months and months of giving before they actually got enough back and started to actually build the business. But if you have more time than you have money to advertise, this is probably the best way to go about it. All right. What are we at now? What time is it? Awesome. YouTube, Instagram, and YouTube. Well, first off, Facebook is a must. That is my number one option for anyone in business. You have to have a Facebook page. If you have a Facebook profile and you're trying to run your business through that, that's cool to start off, but you need to have a Facebook page because they give you so many more tools to be able to grow your business and really leverage the attention of the audiences than a profile. If you don't have a page and you're not using it actively, then you're really doing yourself a disservice, and then more work you're going to have to do later. You have a lot of limitations on the profiles, and you have some obviously on pages, but you have so many more tools that they give you because they want you to succeed. So if you use them and use them well, you can actually thrive and build a huge business by using Facebook pages. Now, number 2 and number 3, Instagram and YouTube. Those are optional depending on your industry. They may or may not be viable for you. YouTube can be very difficult because it is content driven, it's video driven. So if you're not creating videos, they don't all have to be polished. But if you're not creating videos, then it's obviously impossible. It's a video platform. But the secret with YouTube is creating good content consistently. Great thumbnails, great topics, great industries. What else? Great keywords. Like you have to have so many. Like it has to be optimized to be able to get out in front of people. However, if you do it consistently, you build an audience little by little by little, and you do it, and you got to be comfortable with the idea of maybe nobody watching your content for a long time. But you continue to do it, you get better while nobody's watching at getting in front of the camera, eventually you will start to gain some traction. You will get the viewership. You have to optimize the videos to be able to like make sure that the person watching it will watch another one and watch another one. So they build in features to have end screens, for example. So if they watch one at the end of the screen, and you've been on YouTube and I'm sure you recognize it and have seen it, you have something called an end screen where you can click on the next video in their library because you want to digest more of their information because it's good, right? You can do that, and the more you do that, the more content you have, the more they're going to want to show it. And YouTube algorithm will start to recommend your video to people as the watch time increases because now you're more relevant. But that one can be tough. If there's courses out there, and I might end up putting one together around that one as well. There's courses out there that will help you do it organically, and it's very much possible. But that as well takes a long time. And you have to have all these pieces. But if you're creating good content and you have if you have a decent sized audience or small audience that loves you, then that's all you need to get started. And in the meantime, you can get better and better at actually getting in front of the camera and doing video. So I do recommend it. It's just it's not for everyone. Instagram is much more easier to do. You can post pictures, you can post videos. They're smaller size. And depending on your industry, it is incredibly powerful. It's actually it's the next biggest, most popular platform. Everyone is on there. The young ones are on there, the teens and the 20-somethings. In fact, a lot of them prefer Instagram to Facebook because there's just too much political crap there and just frustration. So can't say I don't blame them. So Instagram may be an option. Organically, it has its own methods, but it is possible to actually grow. YouTube, Google, or search on YouTube, Instagram strategies for growing your audience. If you're not, at the end of the day, it's about growing that audience. If you have an audience, then you can actually serve them up valuable information that they will also turn into buyers of your thing, your product or service. But it's very, very, very doable, but it's going to take a lot of time. Which brings me back to my initial point. Does that sound like a lot of work? Right? It is a lot of work. It's easier to produce one piece of content that's really good or even semi-good, and it's just good information, and post it and promote it to your audience, to an audience, and then grow it, as opposed to like putting a ton of content together and just going, and maybe you're not even getting the right message. That's why I advertise. Hopefully you're able to take away some nuggets of information as to how to go about it and do the free route until you can afford to pay. Facebook, like I said at the beginning, at least Facebook gives you for $1 a day, they allow you to get out in front of a few hundred people. That is something that would never have been imaginable years ago in the days of the Yellow Pages, before the internet, where you had to have everything on the Yellow Pages, billboards, radio, or TV. Having that type of budget and trying to grow something with that small budget wasn't possible like that. Other than you out there shaking hands, kissing babies, and networking. That's still viable as well. But in terms of online, either you put in the sweat equity or you put in some money to advertise. But either way, it is still doable. It is still doable, and I recommend you go about whatever makes sense for you. Don't go broke. Don't go into debt necessarily. But know that it's going to require a lot of work. And it's going to require you to really know your market, your industry, and create content that they want to engage in. So listen to your market, ask your audience what they want to know more about, what questions that they have. So that way, at least you have intelligence and information that you can create content based on their answers. And more than likely, that content will also be relevant to other people, future people that view it. And that's the cool thing as well. It's one thing to kind of keep in mind. As long as you're creating content, maybe today it won't be, not many people are watching it, but now you have a library of hundreds of videos over the course of 5 to 10 years that people will see how long you've been in the market and how much you know, and you will answer questions that they are Google searching. In the long term, a lot of stuff will pop up. For example, I rank for YouTube marketing agency, I think, nationally. And I had no idea, frankly. I picked up a client recently for which I ranked for that. He Googled that, and I rank in the top 7 or 8. Not even up high, but on the top page. So in some cases, it just takes a very long time to rank for some terms. because you have to be around a while. Google picks up on the age of your website to be able to rank. If you build a website today and you try to rank for, let's say, YouTube ad agency, you're not going to rank for it today. But maybe over the course of time, other websites fall off and you are still around and your content is relevant, you will show up. That's it for today. My name is Teevee the Marketer. Hopefully you got something out of this and some actionable things that you can do, and at least some, for me, I think, is realizations around the way things work. It's just impossible for your stuff to show if there's thousands of pieces of content being created. I think because I'm hearing people, they're upset that they have to pay, but this is a free platform, so I want to at least illuminate that fact. And they're a for-profit company. They have stockholders they have to answer to. So, and this is every one of them: Google, Facebook, YouTube. They all have stockholders, and they all want to make sure that they show the best content, and that ultimately, and this is, I'll finish with this, that the user has a good experience. That the person, that the user of the platform is having a good experience. There's two people they're trying to serve: the user, their stockholders, and you. However, the most important people are going to be the stockholders and the users. You are just going to have to figure out how to navigate that. Have to navigate those parameters that they set forth to make sure that they're profitable, as well as that the user experience is staying rich. Because if they don't have users, or they start leaving in the billions, because that's the way that's believed, then they're going to be impacted. Their bottom line is going to be impacted. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Teevee the Marketer. I appreciate you for being here. And remember, if you're in business and are marketing and promoting your business daily and effectively, are you really in business? Have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.